it's easier to get in front of it. It's easier for me to just say, like, I know where this is going, and to basically choose not to do it. Like, my case building essentially is someone ranting, but in my own brain, like, oh, I can't believe they did this and this, and it's a rant basically. And so it's a lot easier to identify that pattern, because it almost always means that some other emotion is there for me. So either identifying it, and I don't always deal with the emotion right then, but it's easier to dismiss the anger. It's easier to go, I probably haven't been wronged here. There's probably something emotional here going on that I don't feel like processing right now. And either A, I can try to process it then, or B, I can let some of the anger go, knowing that it's not actually anger. The thing I like about the kind of therapy that I've been doing with you is that you're not trying to uncover some big explanation in terms of, how you're past. What you're trying to do is basically develop skills regardless of what may have happened in the past, or even kind of what's going on right now. I think some modalities get it backwards, where you go back and you try to look at all these traumatic events and things like that without the skills. Whereas now that I've got skills, it's a lot easier actually to reflect about my past and about my present. So it would have been nice to have known those skills before I even started to do homeworks. Like, I think there should be like an FAQ or a set of caveats that, like, hey, doing any homework at all, you might feel this way if you don't succeed. And that's probably just, perfectionism. There are significant caveats around doing homework that I don't think are laid out to people that are going to do homework. And you don't discuss the homework kind of meta process by default enough in therapy.
For most people, what happens as they start to do exposure is all their beliefs show up. So beliefs about needing to do it perfectly, or feelings of guilt because they have inflated responsibility of what it means to go towards whatever is anxiety provoking. They might have negative belief, like core beliefs about not being worthy or being hopeless or helpless, that suddenly pop up as they try to go towards whatever they're afraid of. So from my perspective, that's all part of the process. And shame, like you said, lots of people feel shame when they try to do something that's challenging or that they're not able to do perfectly. So from my perspective, that is what therapy is. In the context of a safe and supportive relationship, you try out something new, and then you see what types of thoughts and feelings show up, and then you work to get more flexible around those thoughts and feelings, and then you modify the exposure so that you target the thoughts and feelings that continue to cause you suffering.
In terms of the word itself, I felt like I had more agency in the commitment versus homework thing. Homework suggests one power dynamic, I guess. It's being assigned to you, versus a commitment feels more like, hey, it's a choice I'm making. It's mine. Homework has a judgmental connotation. You're being judged on how well you do it. Commitment is you're the judge, and people can be harsh judges of themselves, but I feel like it's just a better framing overall. Failure is not actually possible in therapy, and that takes a long time to figure out. Like, as long as you're going, there is no failure. It's about putting in the rep. It's more like working out than winning a beauty contest, right? Like, you win when you show up, you win when you persist. It's not like there's a singular moment of failure or success. It's a process, not an outcome.
That is true for all conditions. So even though OCD is sometimes thought of as like either you do exposure and response prevention and your anxiety subsides, or you don't, that is still a process that is not linear. Most people, when they come to understand how anxiety and OCD operates for the first time, they do get pretty rapid relief in some parts of their anxiety, because all of a sudden they understand that some things are maintaining it. And if they stop doing those things, then they don't feel as anxious. And also typically understanding how subtly this process can be and how pervasive it can be throughout your life can take a long time, can take a lot of trial and error and a lot of persistence. And so recovery is very rarely linear. And I just appreciate the way that you're saying just showing up is succeeding in therapy. What is the feeling you'll have? If it's significantly harder than you were expecting, what will you feel?
Probably fear that I won't be able to do it will be the biggest one. It'll amplify some of the fears that I have, and maybe some shame that, like, I didn't start on things earlier and things like that.
As you notice that it's fear at that time, does it feel courageous to keep working?
No, I never think of it that way, but that seems like it would potentially be a really useful way to think about it.